Friday. My name is Michael Olschimke. I'm the CEO of Scalefree. We run a session here every Friday, 11 o'clock Central European Standard Time, to allow you, the audience, essentially to ask questions about data vault, big data, data-driven solutions, cloud computing, that kind of stuff. So if you have any question, just raise your hand, use the chat here. You can use the Q&A function here in this client, works all. I also show you after today's session how you can essentially submit your question using the form. And that's what a training attendee did. So let me just show you her question. So essentially what they do is they essentially capture relationship data with some temporal timelines and some values. So let me just read this out. We received the relationship between investor and company with the posting months for the last couple of months. And also the ownership percentage for the relationship could change over time. See the attached Excel for mock data on the next slide. So our question is, should we take a period as a part of the investor company link? If yes, how can we track the relationship change with Effectivity Satellite? Or do you think multi-active linked satellite is a better choice here? Let me show you the data. And I did a little extension based on my understanding. So so they received, so to be honest with you, the original question didn't have the load date here. So that column was missing. What you see is there's a relationship between investor and company, and then a period and a ownership percentage essentially. And it's changing over time, over this period of time essentially. Then we also see that the periods are repeating. So 2201, January 22, is repeating here as well. So my guess is that's the second batch. So we're looking at two batches here. One comes in on day one. That's this type of data. And the second batch comes in on day two. That's my understanding of the data set here. So, and let me just go back one more time. The question, there's two questions here. Should we use the period as part of the investor company link and how to capture this with Effectivity Satellite? Or do you think multi-link satellite is a better choice here? Yes and yes, to be honest. Both is what I would do. Now, I would separate the concern here. So the first thing is, we're looking at the relationship between investor and company. That's your link. This link in the first batch, you have only one link entry, right? Because investor one owns company one, and that's it. And then in the next batch, you receive some changes. So there will be something based on, there will be a new link entry based on investor one and company two, another one with investor one and company three, and so on. So there will be a lot of new link entries coming on the second batch, on the second day. Then you want to keep track of how this link changes over time, because apparently the relationship between investor one and company one is introduced on day one, but then it's essentially gone on day two, because we assume it's deleted essentially. That's being captured by an Effectivity Satellite. So when the relationship is gone, you just capture it. That's it. There's nothing special on it. The Effectivity Satellite would get one delta on the first day for the relationship between investor one and company one. On the second day, for the second batch, you would essentially insert 11 deltas into the Effectivity Satellite. 10 for those 10 records here. Those are 10 months, right? So I'm looking at 10 records for those new link entries here, because I'm introducing them. So I set the deleted date of the Effectivity Satellite to end of all times, just what I did on the first day for this relationship here. But then this relationship is not there anymore on day two. It's gone. So that's my 11th record. I'm inserting a new delta into the Effectivity Satellite where I don't want to say end date, where I'm essentially set the deleted date to day two. That's when I recognize the deletion section. So on day two, I'm inserting 11 records, 10 for the new links and 1 for the old links essentially. That's the Effectivity Satellite. And then for the percentages and the periods, I would actually use a multi-active satellite, because you're receiving all these different periods, this business timeline in one batch. So on day number one, we received 10 records here until here with those values. I would use a period, you could, but I wouldn't use it as a multi-active attribute as part of the primary key essentially. I'm not a big fan of trusting the source system. I don't know why, maybe bad experience. So I would just use the subsequence from the staging area from the data lake as the primary key, because the subsequence I introduce or we introduce, so I trust it much more than something from the source. And I would just use a period and ownership percentage as a script of data and capture that by the multi-active satellite. And that's it. I do this day by day, essentially. So on the first day, the multi-satellite would keep would be loaded by 10 records. Same for the second day. That's what the multi-satellite looks like. Wait, sorry for that. Made a mistake. It's true to some extent, but group-wise. So on the first day, I get a group of 10 rows in the multi-satellite. But then on the second day, I get 10 groups with run record each because they're attached to different link entries, to different parents, right? But it's okay. That's by design. It's all right. So, but you don't know. Maybe next day, investor one owns the company. The relationship, maybe you should turn it around. It doesn't matter. So maybe there's a relationship between investor one and company two twice, and you have two different timers for that reason on the same parent. And the multi-satellite would capture that one just as it did on day one. So it's all good. So I would separate concerns. The link, the Effectivity Satellite, where you capture the existence or non-existence of the link in your batch, and the multi-satellite to capture the periods and the ownership percentage. And don't be confused, the Effectivity Satellite captures on day one only one delta because this relationship is known, right? The relationship is a distinct list of relationships. So that's what it is. So that's all good. All right. I would say that's how I would do it. How I would model it. Again, proof, you can check that, try to reconstruct the original delivery. Can you reproduce the whole delivery, the whole batch? If that works, you have at least a valid model. If that's the best one, you figure out when you start using it, right? That's the open question because we don't discuss it here. But I truly believe it will be the best model also downstream, not just for capturing the data. All right, cool. If you have a question like this, use this form here, https://sfr.ee/Friday. Just submit the question this attendee did. She added some Excel sheet essentially for today's presentation. Perfect, good work. If you have we also run other webinars. One is for DBT, the other one is for Westgate. So check it out on scalefree.to/webinars. That's where you find those webinars as well, where you can sign up for them. They're on a monthly basis, but they're essentially driven by experts who know the tools much better than me. All right, cool. And last but not least, save the date for the data agreement coming up in October, on October 10th and 11th. If you have a chance to come to Hanover, come over. It'd be nice to shake some hands, right? Yeah, shake some hands and maybe have a Coke drink. And it'd be nice to see you guys in person for real. All right, cool, nice. Thanks for joining today. Next week, we'll do it again from the basement where the sound quality is better, but we'll figure it out. Cool, thanks.
Thanks for joining today. If you'd like to discuss this further, give us a call on the number below here, and we're happy to discuss this with you. See you next time. Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.